And welcome back inside the FingerLakes1.com studios. It's Finger Lakes today. It's Friday. It's Super Bowl weekend. I'm Jim Sinacropi alongside Sydney Radka. And if you remember just, how long now? About 2 months, about 2 full months ago, the It's a Wonderful Life Festival was held again in Seneca Falls, New York, a very popular event as usual. And one of the centerpieces of that event would be the It's a Wonderful Life Museum, which has tons of memorabilia, history, and also coordinates a lot of the events here in Seneca Falls that are surrounded by Frank Capra's classic holiday movie, It's a Wonderful Life. And we're happy to be welcomed by Anwei Law from the It's a Wonderful Life Museum, who's joining us in studio because they have an open house coming up and share some of the details with us.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. So, as some people know, we've moved to a temporary location at 76 Fall Street.
Mm-hmm.
It's where the old National Women's Hall of Fame used to be. But we're preparing our original location, 32 Fall Street, for major construction. We got a grant as part of the DRI.
Awesome.
For Seneca Falls.
Congrats.
And so we thought it would be nice to give people an opportunity to see the interior of the museum, at least part of it, before that construction begins. And we still have some, quite a few exhibits and things about our vision for the future that are up, were put up for the festival.
Okay.
And so before we take those down in the next week or week after, we thought we'd welcome people to come in and see how it is now, see how it's going to be, and just get a look at this magnificent building.
And it is amazing how many people, for a movie that is now, how old's the movie? 70?
Well, this will be the 77th anniversary.
77th anniversary. That still draws so many people. It just speaks to the message in the movie and the popularity of the movie. I mean, there really probably isn't another movie ever made that has that type of longevity and draw to it. And yeah, this the museum, if you've never been, it has a bunch of really unique and one of a kind memorabilia from the movie and interesting facts. And if you're a movie fan and you haven't made the trip to Seneca Falls, you probably should. But the open house itself, when is it?
So it's February 17th and 18th, Friday and Saturday. So we're just having an informal open house from 11 to 5 on those 2 days. People can just come in and look around and ask us questions. And then on Friday the 17th, we're having a reception from 5 to 6:30 p.m. Ooh. So they can also are welcome
at the
to
same
come
location?
To that. Same location, okay. 32 Fall Street. And yeah. So we hope people will come. I think it's an exciting time for our museum. I think it's an exciting time for Seneca Falls.
Yep.
And we just want people to be part of it.
And on top of the museum, the actual building that it's in has some historical significance as well to Seneca Falls.
It does. It was built in 1913 by Charles Furnacey, and It's a magnificent building, but it's been subdivided over the years. And so you don't get an idea of how magnificent that building really is. Mm-hmm. But our plan is to gut the building and only keep what's original, which will be the walls and the roof.
And the theater itself would be restored?
Well, the whole thing was a theater.
Right.
It held 467 people. That tells you how big the space is. But
you wouldn't think it from the outside. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And so the inside will have a small theater. We're going to have a 2-story island because you'll be able to see all the way up to the rafters.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Or that's our hope. And there'll be a 2-story island that has a 47-seat theater, and it has lots of different areas for interpretation. We're going to recreate sets from the film, and we already have some preliminary designs for the inside by Caroline O'Donnell from Ithaca or Cornell. And also we have an architect working, Barrow Associates, on the outside. We're going to try to make the look as much as like 1913 as it can, mm-hmm. with one special feature. We're going to make sure that the front doors can open, and in the event that one of the owners of the cars might want to display it there occasionally. So we could drive
right in the front door.
George's car or Ernie's taxi in the front door. So there'll be a really nice ramp with some design elements around it. And that's something we have to plan for now. So that,
Sure.
but otherwise we're going to kind of make it look like that 1913 movie theater. And then you go inside and there'll be sets. We'll recreate sets from the movie Gower's Drugstore. We're going to have an anti-bullying exhibit, which will be Mr. Potter's office. The classic scene where he puts George in that low chair.
Right.
And we all get put in those low chairs.
Yep.
Either, I'm looking at this
I
one.
just thought
We're way up
I'm
here.
kind of in a low chair right now, but anyway, either physically or sometimes mentally by what people say to us. And so
course.
we're going to use that scene for an anti-bullying exhibit. We'll recreate the Bailey living room, Zuzu's room, and of course the bridge. And so it's going to be really, and then there's just lots of room. I think for us, the most important thing is the message of the movie. You were referring to that.
Right.
And it's Capra's message throughout his films about the equal importance of each individual.
Right.
And we're working with different people on that message to really, it's not just this movie. It's this movie that tells you that the person next to you is important and you're important. And there's a lot of implications for that, for discussions of bullying or suicide prevention and things like that. So we're working with the Seneca County Suicide Prevention Coalition on how to do some interpretation in meaningful ways. And, so I think that it fits into the message of Seneca Falls, which is about the value of each person.
And
Right.
one person's life touches so many others.
That's right.
Is one of the themes of that movie. And I think that's what draws people to Seneca Falls and to the movie is the connection to Christmas time. Obviously is a big part of it too, because because it comes around once a year. So you're not, maybe I think that has a lot to do with the longevity. It's become a part of the Christmas season in America. And so, but it's more than just that Christmas connection. It is the theme of the movie and the way it makes you feel and how it stands up for the little guy and how the community comes together to help someone who's helped the community for so many years. And I think it's a message that resonates with a lot of people in every community here in America. And so to be able to have a space that really honors the movie, and the museum has always been great. I mean, anybody that's come to town that's a fan of the movie, it's like a kid in the candy store looking at some of the things that were in there, but it was always smaller than maybe you wanted. And as you accumulated so much over the years, you probably ran out of places to put it.
Yeah, that's why, we have most of the things up at 76 Fall Street that we had on display. We have things that aren't on display, but there is more and more all the time. And because I always talk about that this museum is really a collective effort. It's got fans involved, finding things just like what was in the movie for when we recreate sets. Certainly the actors from the film have been instrumental. Carolyn Grimes, who played Zuzu, helped us start this museum. We started with one display case from the Historical Society and a wall of quotes from Frank Capra and the story of Antonio Veracali, which is really the soul of the connection between It's Wonderful Life and Seneca Falls.
For those that don't know, on the bridge that many people feel inspired Frank Capra, there's a plaque from former Seneca Falls resident Antonio Veracali, who gave his life to save another who had fallen into the river below. So he jumped in to save him, not unlike Clarence the angel did. Fortunately, Antonio Veracali was not an angel. He was a human being, and he lost his life to save that other person, which he's honored to this day with a plaque and a special day here in Seneca Falls. We could have a whole nother conversation about the connections, between Seneca Falls and the movie and why we're so sure that the Seneca Falls did inspire Frank Capra in the movie. But that's just and top of just being a place to display these things, you guys are kind of in charge of curating that connection to Seneca Falls as well, and it's evidenced by a lot of the things that are in the museum.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's perfect to have this museum in the first theater built in Seneca Falls, built by the first Italian to permanently settle here. And this is Frank Capra's favorite movie. You know, what better place to have it? Plus, it's just this great space. And one of the things we're doing, we started during the festival, is we're creating a time capsule.
That's what I was just going to
You're
bring.
gonna
That's
ask
my
me.
favorite part.
Yeah.
I think my favorite part, you're always talking about the connection and roping it back into the community and bringing it back to Seneca Falls. So please tell people, my favorite part of this event that you're having is the personal items that they're bringing.
Yeah. Yeah, so it actually started because Jimmy Hawkins, who played Tommy Bailey, after the 75th anniversary, he says, okay, how about we just jump to the 100th anniversary? Because that way we can be around. And I said, well, I'm not sure we can do that. But so the idea evolved to create a time capsule that would be opened on the 100th anniversary. And that way, he and Carolyn and others from the movie connected with the movie, who come in. Mary Owen brought a letter from her mother. You know, people can bring things in for this time capsule that will be opened in 2046. And I think it shows our firm belief that this movie is going to be celebrating its 100th anniversary. This museum will be alive and going at that time. Because when we first started this museum, Carolyn said, you know, this movie will never be outdated because the message is always going to be relevant. And I think we see that now as much as ever. And so we're inviting people to bring something if they want. If they want to write something about what the movie means to them or what it means to Seneca Falls, or if they're a business or some organization and they want to just bring something representative of them at this time that then will be seen in, 2046. They're welcome to do that. And we're going to, hopefully, we're going to be building a safe like the Bailey Building and Loan in the museum, which will then house that time capsule.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
And you think about it, you hear it, you're like 2046, we got a ways to
God
go.
willing, I'll be 75 years old.
But really, it's not that far away, and that is amazing.
We don't need
It's
to
not
rush
that
it.
far.
We
Yeah,
don't need
it's
to rush
not
it.
that far. But having a business or organization, like you said, even be able to write a note on how It's a Wonderful Life has impacted their business opening, their staying in Seneca Falls, the way they view the community, I think that will be something super special to look forward to.
It'll be interesting to think of what the town might look like in 23 years.
Yeah, that it is crazy. to
Especially
think
with
about.
some of the DRI stuff that's happening around town now. As part of that process, how has that gone? Was it frustrating? Was it easy? The DRI.
Well, I don't think
grant.
anything's easy when you have to, this is a significant amount of money and you have to do different things to ensure that you're going to receive that money or follow the guidelines and all that. So actually it's gone pretty well for us, and I think we're so grateful for it because this building is such a wonderful building, but it has serious problems. There's been
as
a
most
leak.
1913 buildings do, that were built over
and
100 years ago.
There's a big crack in the floor, and we've been looking for several years as to what is causing that, and some sinking. So this is going to take care of it and preserve this building, and for a long, long time to come. And I do want to just mention, going back to the time capsule a little, we did pull together a group of younger people, knowing that many of us won't be able to deal. If we're around, we expect to be around, but we got to make sure there's someone ready to open that time capsule.
Sure.
Right.
And so Frank Capra's great-granddaughter, Hannah Capra Ermy, has agreed to sort of coordinate that effort. She was here, and we also have the Charles Fornice's great grandchildren, I think.
And where do they live now?
Different places.
Yeah.
I think one's in Japan.
Oh,
But,
wow.
But his great granddaughter comes back here. And we went also to see Tom Fornice, who's the grandson of Charles Fornice, in Michigan several years ago. And he had these amazing pictures of the theater being built, two of them.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
that's really, really something, because then you can see sort of how the depth of it.
And did
things like
those photos have anything to do with the plans that were developed? Like, did you take any inspiration from them or learn anything that you might not have known?
I think that I think we already had the idea that we would gut the building. Um, and but seeing those was incredible, just to see. Okay, this is it's like how it's going to look. You're going to see, and people can see that. We'll have all these things for people to look at, and you can just see how big this space is going to be and how much you can do with it.
Yeah, that's the most exciting part. I think people who come here every year and already come to your museum now, being able to see like the sets that are built, and I don't know how interactive or not they'll be, or if they're just walking by the sets, but going and being able to really feel like, oh my God, I'm in
Or
this
going back in
section
that
of the
same
movie.
building, and all of a sudden now it's
Yeah.
just kind of expanded in size beyond what they could have probably ever imagined.
Right.
Yeah, and something that's quite exciting is on our creative team is John Curry, and his father was Emil Curry, who was the set decorator for It's Wonderful Life.
Oh my
at that.
goodness.
And so
Yeah.
he worked with his dad,
Oh,
and he
awesome.
has a lot of memories and a lot of insights into what set decorators do to make it real for the audience.
Of
And
course.
so he's part of our creative team.
I think that's a big thing that the museum does. It has done and will be able to even do a better job of in the future here, is letting people actually connect with something physical from the movie. It's for all the years you sit at home with your family and you watch this black and white or the colorized version, movie that moves you so much, and now all of a sudden you come to Seneca Falls and you can actually touch physical parts of that. And so should just enhance that experience and give people more of a reason to come.
Yeah, and this last year, that's really true. People always go, well, when the actors can't come anymore and all this. Well, I think they're going to be coming for quite a while. But we also have, this last year, we recorded them in front of a green screen.
Oh,
Two of them,
nice.
Carolyn and Jimmy, and they will always be there to welcome people
That's
to the
awesome.
museum. And they talked about separately different things they remember. And so I think that their presence and the presence of other people. We've done a lot of interviews. That's why it'll be great to have a theater. And so that we have a great interview we did with Carol Coombs, who played Janie, back for the 65th anniversary.
And that's just another thing with all the folks that were mostly child actors at the time that have come to Seneca Falls and continue to come to Seneca Falls. Just another layer of how important and the lasting impact of the work Frank Capra did on that movie. So it's really changed the trajectory of things here in Seneca Falls. That's for sure. It gives us a huge event in December, which is a boost of business, and so residents can kind of return that favor by supporting the museum. And one great way to do it would be a week from today, right? Would be this open house, and it's going on again. Was it Friday and Saturday?
Friday and Saturday from 11 to 5, and then the reception's on Friday from 5 to 6:30.
And what if someone had something unique to contribute to the time capsule? How would they go about doing that?
Just bring it.
Just bring it down to any time to the open house.
Yeah.
And if anyone has any questions prior to this event, can they get a hold of you a specific way?
Yes, our telephone number is 315-568-5838, or email is good. You can contact us through the website, or
You can see it right on the screen at the bottom there too.
Beautiful.
yeah.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for coming in. It always is so interesting to hear about what you guys continue to do, and I'm excited for you guys to start, gutting this and making it how you really want it to be. It's going to be beautiful, I'm sure. And having everybody that's part of the movie, generations down, to be able to come and help and decorate and make this come to life is so exciting.
Yep, it's great. It's my favorite movie, and it's just lucky to be here in Seneca Falls, where I really believe that we, it helped inspire the movie.
Yeah. So thank you again for joining us this morning.
Welcome.
We're going to
Thanks.
take a quick